Near the coast of downtown La Jolla stands the Museum of Contemporary Art. What is contemporary art? The definition of contemporary is belonging to or occurring in the present. In terms of time, contemporary art is created from the 1960s to the present day. The contemporary artist focuses on an idea and conveys this to the observer. Whether it is aesthetically pleasing or not is up to you when looking at it. Many of the art pieces are almost blank canvases. We think, I could do that, or I can paint that. Maybe the artist's intent is to get a reaction out of us while we are contemplating what the work means. This most certainly produces something in the present moment, a thought or perception, long after the artist has painted the last line or sculpted the final section of the work. Minimalism is an art form that developed in the 1950s and 1960s. It is identified by geometric shapes, straight lines, and simple design. It was created in opposition to the previous abstract expressionism, which used spontaneous action painting and gestural brushstrokes. Notice the single line going off the edge of this canvas. What is its significance? Some contemporary art asks the observer to deduce what was going on with the artist's thoughts at the time of creation, or why were certain brushstrokes made, or one line of paint followed, as opposed to another. As an outside observer, it's intriguing and sometimes baffling to see very simple art creations that fetch extremely high prices at auction. This one, not the one being carried, but the one on the left, which reminds us of the current situation in Ukraine, sold for $46.5 million in 2015. Another is orange, red, yellow, again on the left, which attained an auction price of $86 million. Those two serve as proof that monetary value and beauty are truly in the eye of the beholder, and much to the benefit of the artist being appreciated. Do you agree it takes talent to compose art that challenges our minds and excites our imaginations? Is it strange some minimalist art attains accolades and attention, even with seemingly little effort on the part of the artist? Contemporary art attempts to pull its observer into the present moment, to consider what is seen before them, and to reflect on what is happening in real time. What motivates an artist to create? Art can be made to depict reality. In this piece entitled The City by Ethel Fisher, we can see a red sun in the corner, a white and gray crosswalk, a purple door leading somewhere, and a white vehicle passing by. The artist is not here to tell us what everything is, so it is up to us to interpret what we perceive. Art gives the artist freedom to experiment with new media or new elements. Diamond Column by Dwayne Valentine bends the surrounding light, making the center portion blurred. It appears to create an ominous portal into another world, or a shadow we normally see only in our peripheral vision. Dance Me, Dance You Too has the trademark hanging or draped canvases of Sam Gilliam. He experimented by painting polyester and eliminating any frame, leaving the pliable fabric to settle with gravity rather than stretch out like a painting. This allows observers to experience a typically two-dimensional art piece in 3 dimensions. From inside the art gallery, the view out a window itself becomes a living work of art, changing with position and time. Art allows an outlet for an artist to express feelings or ideas. It is our job as observers to figure out what message is being communicated. Is that a black and white dog or bats in front of 2 ghosts? A title and a small description helps sometimes. This one is called Another Autumn Goodbye and shows the change from brush to knife edge. Much like how the seasons change from autumn to winter, showing the cyclical passage of time. With only the art piece and no title, it's possible we can misinterpret them. This looks like some colorful patterned vinyl plank flooring. A man in gray breakdancing on the floor, while a woman in green points a rifle at him. A gray fox on the right sits against a red and black tree. Perhaps some artists want to be misinterpreted, as long as they can use their art to express themselves. Whether it's by painting on canvas, pouring fields of color and letting them run together, or shaping and sculpting wood or metal into a desired shape. Art can be used as a commentary on our lives, with all its obstacles and consolations. Black Light by Meli Barragan has several chords draping from the left and entering the canvas on the right. At the time, she was recovering from a series of medical procedures, and these chords appear to be entering a torso. The black floral pattern seems to represent a blouse. There is also a mysterious written reference to a lip brush, possibly for lipstick. Anna Sue Hoy dedicated this elaborate tissue dispensing box for filmmaker Stam Sogo when he passed away unexpectedly. It has pegs to store earbuds, keys, or objects we use every day, and, of course, a single slot on the top. The piece reveals how we can find comfort even through the simple act of pulling a tissue to dry our eyes. These jars of hair grease and combs comprise an art piece by Mildred Howard in honor of Madame C.J. Walker, the first self-made female millionaire in the United States. She was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867, and at the age of 22 began work as a laundry washerwoman, making little more than $1 per day. She suffered from dandruff and other scalp ailments and learned about hair care from her brothers, who were barbers in St. Louis. By 1904, she worked as a sales agent for Annie Malone's hair care and cosmetics business, the Poro Company. The following year, Sarah started her own hair care business and eventually became the largest rival of her former employer. In 1906, she married Charles Walker and became known as Madame C.J. Walker. Over the years, her business expanded from Denver to Pittsburgh, New York, and Indianapolis. During this time, she was opening beauty parlors and factories, while training hair culturists and commissioned sales agents. Here is a photo of Via Lowaro, her 34-room, 20,000 square foot mansion completed in 1918. She was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the first self-made female millionaire. At the time of her death in 1919, she was the wealthiest African-American woman in the United States. Madame C.J. Walker was a philanthropist in life, and her will directed 2/3 of her future profits to go to charity. Art enables artists to illustrate what they see in their dreams or imaginations. If we look closer at this one, it reveals an unnervingly broken body of a baby. Like the numerous mousetraps at its feet, the baby got caught in a larger trap with a gruesome result. The fact it is all black obscures the grisly sight, yet it remains in our mind like a nightmare. Can you recall your dreams from last night? Were they in color, or were they black and white? This appears as an almost colorless humanoid figure with 2 legs, and it may be carrying a houndfish of some sort, with bird motifs on each shoulder. The face looks like a robotic cyclops wearing a helmet. As we look from the side, there is some depth to this piece. It's called White Door by Maxine Kim Stussy Frankel. The individual forms are hard to readily identify, like a vague dream shortly after awakening. This piece calls for a restful journey on the path to dreams. How sweet the day after this and that, deep sleep is truly welcomed. It features one prominent word that is asked throughout the entire 8 by 16 foot piece, partially questioning the title itself, as well as the dreamlike scene that is painted before our eyes. There are silhouette profiles of people from the early 1800s. Prior to cameras, having a silhouette cut from black paper by an artist with scissors was the cheapest and fastest way to have a selfie made. In fact, the word silhouette is named after France's mid-18th century finance minister, Étienne de Silhouette, who enjoyed creating these inexpensive keepsakes for people. The funnel connected to the largest what is filled with smaller whats, indicating its origin is from the cityscape below. Some silhouettes are peculiar, like this one of the family dog or goat. There are 5 white frames with drawings backed by the traditional oval shape for silhouettes. This one has an owl creature that is most often associated with wisdom, night, and sleep. In the upper right is a large red face with an owl-like gaze. The arrows may represent this being's power to hypnotize its observers into the deep sleep welcomed by the artist Larry Pittman. The other face below has a duster on top, as if its mind is being cleansed. One eye closes as deep sleep approaches. Below the right side, we see the artist's signature well hidden in the stylized script, but simply signed Larry. This artwork shows what complexity our dreams may have through the creative mind of an artist. A lot of classical and Renaissance art focused on the human form. Here's a reproduction of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. A closer look shows this Last Supper is a contemporary recreation made from edible chocolate syrup. The subject here has a similar pose and expression to The Birth of Venus by Botticelli. The March of Lobsters, however, has 2 extra pairs of feet walking with the crustaceans. There's an extra face growing out of the mermaid tail, which is dissolving into the sea. Instead of angels, curious and strange fish gather around to witness the march. Outside the museum is this outline of a displaced person. It lies here empty. Just on the other side of the border walkway is another human form full of life. Artist Kiki Smith made these two panels of 1,254 swatches of human skin tones. Rest assured, they are made of wax, gauze, shoe polish, and pigments, but they show the diversity of our existence. Contemporary artists not only want to show what is in our minds, but what is in our physical bodies. Still Run Dry by Alison Saar uses glass, copper, rubber, lead, and steel to simulate parts of our anatomy. By changing our perspective, we can see our organs can be thought of as a machine to process solids and liquids. If we don't maintain this machine, it will eventually run dry and break down. In the same way, we must take care of our bodies and do everything possible to stay healthy. Here's a bizarre art piece that brings tile work to life with artificial internal organs. The porcelain tiles have been cut by a knife and peeled back to expose the guts within. As grotesque as it looks, the artist is speaking out against the cultural suppression of one people while they suffer under the power and control of another people. The analogy here is the art can be controlled by the artist, who has the power to make it attractive or repulsive. Liliana Porter made this tiny 2-inch cube with an even smaller woman looking at a gold pin in the wall. It's titled "To See Gold." She's so focused on the gold, she ignores us. To look at the tiny woman, it's interesting how life imitates art. The man in the pink shirt seems unimpressed. Similar to the woman looking at gold, his attention is somewhere else. He may just be tired of his surroundings. This carved tire will leave an impression of a floral pattern instead of a traditional tread. As we observe this drawing, is art imitating life, or is life imitating art? Sometimes, just a reflection off the cover glass puts us into the artwork itself. Street signs are familiar to us. But isn't it strange to have them inside a building? This sign is a little misleading, showing San Diego is 20 miles at sea. Although Crossroads was originally located at the US-Mexico border in Tijuana. The shapes in this painting by Robert Irwin almost look like the art installation Pleasure Point on the exterior of the museum. This collection of boats, kayaks, canoes, paddleboards, and surfboards shows the connection San Diego has with the ocean. It's the first thing people notice when looking at the Museum of Contemporary Art from the coast of La Jolla just across the street. Artist Nancy Rubens most likely named it after the Pleasure Point Marina at Big Bear Lake. It's amusing to see boats against the clouds and blue sky above, instead of the water below. On the lawn beneath is a long yellow hose, which would be completely overlooked if it wasn't for the plaque nearby. Its location and modest nature lends itself to change over time if landscapers or people walking by are tempted to move the hose around. Inside the museum is a painted hose spraying water into a pool. Pool Party by John Valadez is a photorealistic painting of two girls washing their dog. It's fascinating how sharp everything is from far away, and how the soap suds on the dog actually look foamy at a distance and are clearly seen as brushstrokes up close. Did you notice the large brush fire in the back? And how they seem oblivious to it? Most of the art pieces in the museum use color in their composition. What role does color play in contemporary art? It can simulate movement in an otherwise motionless image. It uses vibrance to draw our attention to the important items or objects in the piece. Did you know 1 in 12 men or 1 in 200 women have some form of color blindness? CEO Mark Zuckerberg said Facebook is blue because he suffers from the most common red-green color blindness. This red and green color plate will appear as a green circle with a red number 9 to those with normal color vision. An individual with red-green color blindness will see little to no distinction between the red and green dots. When put into that perspective, people who can see in color must never take it for granted. There are many things to be thankful for, and being able to appreciate color is a gift. Look how Manny Farber uses color to illustrate his life through Story of the Eye. The color-coded sections stand for water, fire, the underworld, air, and earth. The water panel has eggs showing birth. The fire panel has bread that is baked and rises through fire. The underworld panel shows turnips that grow underground, while the air panel has a sign that says up, the general direction through the course of our lives. The earth panel has a bird at the end of its life. Lying next to it is a small human. Big Ganesh represents the elephant-headed Hindu deity Ganesh, also known as the remover of obstacles. This brightly colored version was created by Nikki de Saint-Phal in her signature style seen across San Diego. There's a tiny bandicoot rat that normally carries Ganesh, although it will need to grow significantly before that happens. The arrival of Ganesh is celebrated annually between August and September. At the end of the festival, his clay idol is submerged into water to dissolve and return him back to his celestial home. These nighttime cityscapes are created by hanging pony beads on strings of artificial hair. Glint comes to life as we change our perspective, making the spaces between beads glimmer in front of our eyes. A real cityscape of La Jolla creates a silhouette of the piece called Alphabet Good Humor. From the other side, we can see it's a melting stick bar of alphabet ice cream. This piece by Robert Irwin may be called primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, referring to dimensions. The first 3 are height, length, and width. Tinted glass with 3 openings overlook the view of the ocean right next to the museum. What is the 4th dimension? We see it all around here. If you said time, you are correct. Music relies on time for its existence. It is a temporal art and cannot be experienced in a snapshot or photograph. Contemporary art takes what is in the present and encourages observers to see what was in the past, as well as what will be in the future. Take this one entitled Continental Drift. The name alone implies slow movement of land masses on our planet. It shows the progression of the shaded area morphing from larger shapes to smaller polygons. 29 Arrests shows time captured over a day in May of 1972. UCSD students were protesting the Vietnam War. This may or may not be an art piece, but it shows the structural support needed for this towering pine tree as it will continue growing well into the future. Here is a diorama of houses in the suburbs with office buildings and a downtown area. Above the skyscrapers that resemble the Empire State Building and the Willis Tower flies a passenger jet. This piece is called Airplane Crash Clock. It grabs your attention when the airplane engines stop and are replaced with the screams and yells of an airplane plummeting toward the ground. As the plane approaches impact, a panel flips to show the aftermath. It's a dramatic way to keep us watching, but it surely portrays the passage of time. Finally, let's consider this shiny pumpkin in the lobby. It has the major themes of artist Yayoi Kusama all rolled into one. These themes are pumpkins, polka dots, and mirrors. Yayoi Kusama is a Japanese contemporary artist born in 1929. When she showed an interest in art, her mother would snatch away the drawings, directing her to focus on becoming a housewife. At the start of World War II, Kusama was 10 years old and began having vivid hallucinations that included flashes of light, auras, or dense fields of dots. Her struggle to become an artist was not an easy path. She had suffered childhood trauma from her father's infidelity, endured other artists copying her ideas, and survived 2 suicide attempts. Yayoi Kusama spent many hours drawing pumpkins in elementary school and explained in a 2015 interview, "I love pumpkins because of their humorous form, warm feeling, and a human-like quality and form. My desire to create works of pumpkins still continues. I have enthusiasm as if I were still a child." Her childhood hallucination of dots shows in all of her artwork. She wraps polka dots on trees. She incorporates polka dots on her sculptures of flowers. Kusama uses them to design fashion, handbags, and tentacles, and more glowing tentacles seen in the darkness. She created an obliteration room with household items and furniture. Even the kitchen sink is here, if you can find it. Yayoi Kusama wants to go beyond the physical limitation of drawing objects to infinity and utilizes mirrored rooms to achieve the desired repetitive and limitless effect. This one was used as a background by Adele for her song When We Were Young in 2016. Adele said she could spend hours in that room created by Kusama. The mirrored infinity rooms seem to allow observers to look within themselves and literally reflect on their lives. Yayoi Kusama's art saved her life, giving her an outlet to express herself and a life's purpose to create. By sharing her work with others, she encourages them to dream. hopefully see the power within themselves to overcome any challenge in life. Artists take their pleasure or pain, their confidence or fear, their suffering or serenity, their joy or sadness, and turn it into art. It stirs up feelings we all have at one point or another and helps us to find ourselves and our purpose in life. You are welcome and invited to support this channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching San Diego Review.